Hi, my name is jjvanzyloptometrists and we will be doing a series on binocular vision, on vestibular ocular reflex, the vestibular spinal reflex and proprioception. Now, what on earth is that? But as you grow older, have you ever wondered why you become a little bit more unstable? Why you sometimes find that you might be dizzy, have a headache, even a bit of vertigo, balance problems? Does this sound familiar to you? Well, this is what we will be doing a series of videos on in the next couple of weeks. Hi, and today we will be talking about what is BVD, VOR, VSR and proprioception. Sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? So BVD is a binocular vision disorder, and VOR is a vestibulo ocular reflex. VSR is the vestibular spinal reflex, and proprioception is your body's ability to sense its position in free space. Now, what has all of this got to do with an optometrist? And what has it got to do with getting older? Because this unfortunately happens to most of us as we grow older. We become a little bit more clumsy, our balance starts to suffer, sometimes we develop a low-grade binocular vision disorder. Many times we don't even know about it. So today we're going to spend a little bit of more time on the binocular vision disorder, and in the next couple of weeks we'll be also talking about the vestibular ocular reflex and the spinal reflex and proprioception, and how does this all actually come into play with your body's ability to see comfortable and clear, to absorb information and move through space in an easy manner, because this is what these systems do. Now, let's start off with a binocular vision disorder. Now, binocular vision disorder can be anything that affects your eye's ability to work together as a team, because binocular vision means that you have two eyes, and the two eyes actually create one single clear and comfortable image, which gives you some depth and many other advantages as well if they work well together. But that is what binocular vision does, and it integrates in your brain with all of these systems so that you can actually then see clearly, comfortably. What is the vestibulo ocular reflex? Now, when you look at something, now I'm looking now at the camera. If I tilt my head or I go sideways, my eyes automatically keep on looking at the camera. Now, that is your vestibular ocular reflex that comes into play. And how I explain it to my patients is that, imagine you have a mobile phone and you're like 110 and you're trying to take a picture and you're like doing this. That image is not going to be very clear. Now, this is normally what happens just to a normal person if you're just walking around. It's like a mobile phone that's like bouncing up and down. Now, imagine you have your mobile phone in the best gimbal possible, that's got springs in and that can absorb shock and it can smooth everything out. And what is a gimbal? It's one of these things, and strangely enough, if you look at this gimbal, you'll see there's actually three motors. There's a motor there, there's a motor there, and there's another motor here. Now, in the ear, you have something similar to these three motors. You have three semicircular canals, and the nerves of those canals connect directly to your eye muscles. And as you move around, the fluid in your ears tells your eyes what to do in the opposite direction so that your eyes maintain a gaze that's stable. So vestibular ocular reflex is present literally just about a couple of days after you're born, and it's one of those things that you will not be able to actually move around if that reflex and that integration between your ears and your eyes isn't working smoothly. Now, what is the vestibular spinal reflex? Again, if you sit up suddenly, all of these fluids in your ears and your head is moving around, and that tells your spine and the muscles around your spine, what are you doing with your head? Because your head is pretty heavy actually. So that is a very important reflex as well, to stabilize your vision and to stabilize your body. And the last one of these four that work together so that you can move around in free space and your world in an easy manner is what we call proprioception. Now, proprioception is, and we've seen some patients that's got very, very limited proprioception and very, very limited spinal reflex. And unfortunately, very often as you grow older, your visual system takes over more and more of some of these functions. You try balancing on one leg. Try that if you're over 60, try balancing on one leg with your eyes open. And it's possible. But try balancing on one leg and closing your eyes, and you might find it's much more difficult because the vision part actually tells the body, if you are upright as well, what's going on. And the moment you close your eyes, you solely have to rely on the other systems to keep you in balance and upright. What is this binocular vision? As I said, it's the ability to use both your eyes to create a single, clear, cohesive image. Let's just go through again. It's the ability to use both eyes, so it's two eyes, to create a single, clear, cohesive image. And this then allows for depth perception and better spatial awareness. And if you want to do a test, as I said, try standing on one leg and then stand on the one leg, your best leg, close your eyes. And when you are young, you will notice that children can do this much, much easier than when you are 60 or 70 years old. And the reason is that these other systems, and not just the vision, all of these systems, they just tend to work not so good anymore. But the good news is, there is ways that we can improve the effectiveness and the integration of these systems into your vision so that you are moving around more easily. So let's talk about some common symptoms, or alternatively some common integration symptoms if you have either a binocular vision problem or a vestibular ocular problem, or an integration of the systems in your brain, in your vision, that's causing some problems. So what are most of the common symptoms? Blurry vision. Well, that's logical, isn't it? If your vision is not focusing properly, and we're talking about the focusing system or the focusing between the two eyes, you might develop blurry vision. You might develop some headaches. Poor depth perception. All of these things are directly related to your ability to use your two eyes in a smooth and an easy manner so that they are doing their work but not going into a spasm. Because again, thinking about it, if you are walking comfortable, you only need one muscle in one of the legs to go into a spasm, and that'll affect your walking pattern totally. Now the same thing with your vision. It's not two eyes that have to be a problem. You only need one eye to have a problem, which will affect both eyes, and it might also affect all of these other systems as well, which helps and assists you to be stable and comfortable and to walk around in your world and know where you are, the distances. You don't even think about these things when you're younger, but all of these things start becoming a bit more of an issue as you grow older. Now, If you have low-grade double vision, that's a classic sign of a binocular vision problem. If you are tilting your head, if you have a postural problem, if you are walking around like this, or like that, or like that, any type of head tilt, you find that it goes back to a binocular vision disorder problem. Dizziness. Dizziness can sometimes be your vision. It can also be your vestibular system, which there might be a problem there with as well. So dizziness, vertigo, again, either it can be a binocular problem or an integration problem between your binocular vision or your vision as such and your vestibular system, either the ocular part or the spinal side. Balance problems, being clumsy, again, that's typically also a combination factor most often between your vision, your vestibular system, your proprioception. All of those systems might just be a bit weak, and there is a lot that you can do to improve that actually. Now, poor concentration. That's a classic one. You're reading, but you just don't seem to be able to get what is there in your brain. And how I explain this to my patients, I say sometimes you become good at seeing bad. Now, the part where we do the therapy in, my saying is then we have to teach to become good at seeing good. And it is not just a muscle problem or a binocular vision problem. It's very often an integration problems to get all of those systems working in harmony with each other so that your ability to absorb information is improved and your ability to move around, because all of those things play a role in your happiness, literally. Now, if we focus more on binocular vision for today, the first thing you want to ask yourself, is it a binocular vision problem? Is it a two-eye problem, or can it maybe be that what you're experiencing, blurry vision, double vision, it might be a monocular problem? Now, how do you check that? Very simple. All you do is you just close the one eye, and if you are seeing a little bit double, are you seeing double with one eye? Or are you seeing double with two eyes? This is what you want to know. You want to know, is it maybe a one-eye problem or is it a two-eye problem? If it's a two-eye problem, you have a binocular vision disorder. If you have a monocular vision disorder, sometimes what we find is that when you're getting older, unfortunately again, and there is something, this is the model of the eye, if there's, for example, an early cataract, or you have something in the eye jelly, or even in the cornea in front here, if the light enters the pupil like this, and there is something that actually splits the light, you might land up where you find that that splitting of the light actually caused that one image to actually become two on the retina. So it's a one-eye problem, a monocular problem, but this monocular problem is causing like a split beam effect, and it causes double vision in one eye only. Now, that can be difficult to solve, but it is solvable as such. Now, the next thing you want to be doing is a selfie eye test. Now, what is a selfie eye test? As the name indicates, it's an eye test that you can do yourself. And how do you do this? You can have a look at my channel. I explain it a bit more detail on my channel, but very simply put, you just close one eye, look into the distance, look close, close the other eye, look into the distance, look close. Can both eyes see? And can they see about the same? This is what you want to do. You want to just check your vision, because at the end of the day, if your two eyes aren't seeing the same, that might indicate that you have a binocular vision problem, or it might just indicate that you need some new spectacles. But say, for example, what happens if you are seeing very poor with one eye? And this is now the first time that you've discovered that, oh my heavens, I'm seeing poor with my one eye. Then you do straight away what I call my pinhole eye test. And you'll see this is a top of a shaving cream holder. I've made a little hole in, and what you do is the eye that's not seeing clear, you just cover the other eye and hold the lens like this top, hold it with the whole part close to the eye and look through the hole. If you are seeing much more clearer through the hole, you then have a refractive problem and you need some new spectacles at your optometrist. However, if you are looking through the hole and you're not seeing much clearer, or even maybe worse, then you might have a more serious problem, and then you need to go and see your ophthalmologist normally. But start with your optometrist always. He's the guy that's going to play a big role in your life as you grow old. Regular eye tests, I always advise my patients, don't wait 3, 4, 5 years as you grow older. You want to be seeing every year or maximum 2 years over 65, because your eyes will tell us a lot about what's going on in your body. So yes, do your selfie eye test. Now, again, this comes back to, is it a binocular problem or is it a monocular problem? So the easiest way just to see if it's like really a problem, binocular, is just sit down on a chair, close the one eye for 5 minutes and see what happens. Do you feel better? Do you feel worse? Does the symptoms go away? Or this discomfort, this eyeball awareness, this not feeling happy feeling? Just close one eye and just what happens? Because if it's a 2-eye problem, sometimes by just closing one eye, you're going to feel better. Do the other eye as well, by the way. And then the head tilt test, I call it. This is one of my favorite tests as well. So wherever you are, just look at something in the distance and literally just keep looking into the distance and look up and look down. Whilst you are looking at something in the distance, tilt your head up and down. Does that image maintain the same clarity throughout the range of motion? So whilst you are looking up and down, does it stay the same clarity? If it changes clarity, you might be also developing a binocular vision problem. Or if you've noticed that, I'm walking around a little bit like that, what happens to your vision if you tilt your head straight or the other way? Does it get worse? Because there might be a reason which you weren't aware of why you're actually walking around like this with a head tilt. So do the head tilt, but just watch out if you are wearing multifocal spectacles, because if you are wearing multifocal spectacles and you are tilting your head up too much, you might find your vision becomes fuzzy then. So be aware of that. But in general, do the head tilt and look at some of your old pictures and your posture. If your posture is really a bit skew, you've got a head tilt, you're walking around with a lock, then you might also have a problem as well, because very often these postural adaptations, you do that most often because you have a problem with integration of the vision and the vestibular systems. So, and then your posture will actually adapt. But those systems must also work much harder if you are unable to walk comfortably and clear. So be aware that any postural problems most often can be backtracked, can be related back to a vision problem or a vestibular problem as such. Now, we also see many convergence deficiencies in the practice. Now, why does this happen and what does it mean? Convergence means your eye's ability to look far and to actually converge, to look close. Because when you are reading, the two eyes have to come in and they look at this mobile phone or this piece of paper you're looking at, looking close. So they must be able to converge, and both eyes needs to be strong enough, the muscles part, and they must be clear enough so that they can converge. But what can you do now to actually determine if you do have a problem? Very easily. You just look at the ceiling, and when you look down, look at the ceiling. When you look down, look at your nose. Look at the ceiling, look at your nose. Can you see both sides of your nose? So if you can see both sides of your nose, then it means that both eyes are converging properly. If you do not see both sides of your nose, it might mean that one eye is actually now, literally now decided to like just diverge, and the brain has switched it off. Now, why would you not notice that? Why might it be now the first time that you are noticing that I'm only seeing one side of my nose? And if we just backtrack for a moment, what's actually happening here? So when you are looking up and down, your eyes need to target and focus smoothly to have binocular vision. But did you know, now this sounds crazy, did you know that your whole world is double all the time? So your whole world is double all the time, except one little spot where you are looking. Your brain is incredibly effective to reduce this double vision, otherwise you'll go crazy. And how can you test this? So don't believe me, but if you have a reasonably normal binocular vision, just look into the distance, take a pen, hold the pen straight in front of you whilst you are looking at that distance image, and you're going to notice sometimes for the first time that you're actually seeing two pens. Now, what does it mean? It means that everything in front, except the thing that you're looking at, is actually double, but you might not have noticed that. But when you are now looking up and down and you're reading, and the one eye is not as strong as the other eye, or there's many other reasons, and the one eye starts to drift, you might find that there's a slight flickering in your vision, and then as it drifts, it becomes double, and the brain goes, oh good heavens, I'm seeing double, so I'm not doing my work. What does it do? Most often it just switches the eye off. You don't actually notice that eye even drifting. So, and when we do visual therapy, one of the first things that we actually teach our patients is we teach their brains what's normal double vision and what's abnormal double vision. And if you want to, you can go and have a look at my Brockstring visual therapy, which I've done on my YouTube channel. That'll give you a little bit more information on some of the therapy that we can do for our patients. But yes, are you seeing both sides of your nose? So simple. Now, this is one of the tests that you have to do if you suspect that you have any binocular vision disorder. It's called the cover test. Now, what is the cover test? It's take a little piece of paper, about centimeter, maybe 1.5 centimeters, around, cut out a piece of paper that's totally round. You can write an A on it if you want to. Put it on your TV, open the blinds, open the windows, make sure that the curtains are drawn, you have enough light on the TV, so get a nice dark background. You can even use something like a blanket that's black, hang it on a wall or put it over your TV. Make sure that you have something that is black around this white dot. And then whilst you are, and just stand 3 or 4 meters away from this white dot then. Try and get it as level as possible. And whilst you are looking at the white dot through your glasses, if you're wearing glasses, you always need to be wearing your glasses for this test. Literally, all you have to do is just rapidly close the eyes like this. Now, what happens? If the dot now moves slightly left to right, that's a normal response. If the dot's jumping like this, that's already an abnormal response. If the dot goes up and down, or you're not seeing two dots, again, it's an abnormal response. And what are we actually trying to do? We are trying to figure out now your eyeball alignment. How does the two eyes work together? Because thinking about it, logic will tell you, if both your eyes are looking straight, imagine this is your two eyes, they're both looking straight at the white dot. So there's your two eyes, they're both looking at the white dot. It shouldn't matter which eye I close if they are looking at the white dot, because the two eyes are looking at one object, and if they are looking straight, irrespective of which eye I'm closing, the white dot should be standing still. Now, that doesn't happen very often because your eyes got a tendency to slightly relax when you close them rapidly like this. So if the dot's moving slightly left and right, it's like close the one eye and the dot moves towards the left. If you close the left eye, the dot should move slightly towards the right. That's a normal response to the cover and cover test. And I just call it the cover test for simplicity. But that's a normal response. Your eyes are very strong in a horizontal manner, but they are very weak if they are looking like that. So when your eyes are looking up and down or sideways like this, you would need some prism spectacles. And there's quite a fine art in prescribing prism spectacles, because prism spectacles should always be done in conjunction with visual therapy. But yes, if the cover test has an abnormal response, you need to go and see your optometrist because you might need some prism spectacles and some visual therapy. Now, that's the alignment or the targeting system that we're checking. How do we check the focusing system? Very simply, just go down to your local pharmacy and purchase yourself some ready readers, maybe a +150 or even a +2. And here's my pair, and put them on. If you're not wearing any glasses, put them on and look into the distance. It should be fuzzy now, because with that prescription on, looking into the distance, if your eyes are normal, it should be fuzzy. But check each eye, are they equally fuzzy? Because it might be that you are long-sighted or hyperopic, and you will not pick up any other problem with any other way except doing this. So if you're wearing glasses, put them over your spectacles. And again, check if each eye is equally fuzzy, because that is now the focusing system that we are talking about. So if you're thinking about like a movie set, just imagine they have a fast moving vehicle. They have two cameras which needs to be focused precisely on that target. And each of those two cameras are sitting on different positions, and they need to be sure that the alignment, the spot where these two cameras are focusing all the time, needs to be 100% correct. Now, this is what your eyes are doing all the time. They are tracking things, there's different angles, and focusing. Now, any of those things can cause a binocular vision problem if it's not working properly. And one of my favorite tests is what we call the Pola-mirror test. Now, if you don't like 3D movies, it might be that you already have a binocular vision disorder, because there's a reason why you might not enjoy 3D movies. And here is my 3D movie glasses. There you go. I'm a little bit fuzzy. Now, I'm not going to the movies today, but what I am going to do is I'm going to take these glasses, I'm going to again open the blinds, open the windows, open the curtains, and I'm going to stand in front of a mirror with these glasses on. Now, if you put them over your glasses, or if you don't wear glasses, if you put them on and you stand in front of a mirror, you should see each eye a little bit. They should be both a little bit fuzzy, but you should be able to see each eye in the mirror. Now, that is a normal response. That is an absolutely normal response. Now, if the one eye is black and the one eye is visible, you have a binocular vision disorder, or you have a focusing problem. And what you can do is you can walk slightly closer towards the mirror and slightly back and see if the two eyes are equally clear or equally fuzzy. Because if they are not equally clear or equally fuzzy, again, it might indicate that you have a binocular vision disorder. This is a very, very effective test to determine if your glasses are also the right prescription at various distances. Because if you move forward and backward, whilst you're putting this over your spectacles, your eyes should be equally clear all the time. If you find that there is certain distances where the eyes are, the one is black and the other is clear, then your glasses might not be the right prescription in those two eyes, because it's affecting your binocular vision test. But this is one of the most interesting little tests that you can do to determine if you have a binocular vision problem. So in our next videos, we will be going into more detail with the vestibular ocular reflex, and of course we'll also be detailing what tests that we can do to determine where the main problem lies. And in the last parts of the series, we will be doing visual therapy and therapy, how to improve or lessen your symptoms if you have any of these symptoms which I've now mentioned. And in the last sections, we'll be doing the therapy part, not just binocular vision part, but we'll also be doing the therapy, and we'll be telling you what to do, simple things to do, how to improve your balance and your spatial awareness and your mobility, and that's what we will be discussing in our future video.